Hi, I'm Jeannie.
I'm Patty.
And welcome to Craft Genie. We have a pretty craft for you today, something that'll be nice on a party table or just on your everyday table. This is, we're going to use these little votive candle holders. We're going to use some silk flowers.
You'll need a glue gun and some scissors. Now, we picked these votives because, again, these are those kind that you have lying around the house. You don't know how they got in the house, but you just have tons of them. So we decided to spruce these ones up, and we wanted to pick some flowers, some colors that we like. We're going to show you how we're going to make this nice and pretty.
So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your silk flowers and pull it off. We're going to be disassembling these flowers. The plastic backing, you can just pull it right off and start peeling off the layers of petals.
Put a lot of little plastic caps on these.
Yes, they do. Here's another one. You want to assemble it all, disassemble it all the way down to just the silk. Then what we're going to do is we're going to cut this apart. We want to cut these into individual petals, Just cut straight down.
And you want to try to get down as long as you can because you want the petals to be as long as possible. So just try to stay close to the center, but make sure they're detached as individual petals.
And as you're cutting these, go ahead and put the smaller ones in one pile. Your next medium size, make a pile of those. Your large ones, make little piles just in sizes. It's going to make it easier when we assemble the rest of the project. So we will go ahead and finish cutting this apart, and we'll be right back with you. Okay, let's get started assembling these. I've divided my petals into small petals, medium petals, and large petals for the project.
And mine just came with two sizes, but I have the darker ones, which are smaller, and then the lighter ones, but I did separate them in two piles.
So what we're going to do is we're going to glue these petals, and just maybe a ½ inch up from the top. And take a little glue, and you want to do small areas at a time. Don't put glue all across the whole thing. It'll cool before you get to that point. Press a petal in. Second petal, you want to overlap it just a little bit. Same height, and just a little overlap on it. Like I said, little bits of glue at a time. And remember, it is hot. Hot glue, so watch your fingers. And we'll just go all the way around the top.
And you kind of have to eyeball it a little bit because just keep in mind you don't have to make them perfectly even because a flower isn't perfectly even and straight across the top. So if the petals are a little bit higher and lower, that's okay.
If the OCD inside you wants to measure them and bring out micrometers, don't do it. Just, like Patty said, in nature you're not going to see them perfectly even. And you should end up being able to overlap between the last two of them. And there you go, the first row is done. Now I'm going to go to the second row. My second row I'm going to sprinkle a couple of my small petals and then my bigger petals throughout. And these are going to go in between and all the way around. So just a little bit below, test it out and see where you want it to be. I want to go right about there. And start gluing your second row of petals.
The other thing you need to kind of check is just maybe push on the petals to make sure that they've glued. Because some of them, like I had a couple that didn't glue quite right and they were falling off. So just kind of touch them a little bit, make sure that they are glued down well.
The glue does cool fast, and when it's cool it won't stick. So that's a really good point. You don't want to be finished and have petals falling off on you. And then whether you end up making 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows, it's going to depend on you. As you're putting these on, you may have your rows higher up, closer together. You may have more space between them. You may want a lot of petals, a few petals. So really, every one of these is going to look different. You're not going to have any two that come out exactly the same.
The other thing I don't think we mentioned at the beginning is the flowers we got at, was it Dollar Tree?
Dollar Tree.
So, these are not super expensive flowers. Now, of course, depending on what you want them to look like, you can buy more expensive flowers and tear them apart and do this, but you don't have to. And we'll show you when we're done how these look. And these, again, were Dollar Tree flowers. Now, are you on the 3rd row or 4th row?
I'm putting 4 rows, and I'm going to put a 5th row underneath mine.
Okay.
I put them a little closer together, so I'm actually going to end up with 5 rows instead of 4. And I'm just about down to the end of this row. Now here at the very bottom, I'm going to put just a few more, and I want these to come all the way up, so I'm going to put glue between the leaf all the way to the bottom. And my petal is actually going to go underneath and up. And I'll put, I don't know, maybe 4 of these on here. This is actually going toward the very bottom of my flower, of my votive. I'm using my very biggest petals for this portion of it. And then I'm going to take the leaves that Patty just cut out. Glue. And I don't want them symmetrical, so it's not going to be sticking straight out in the other direction. I'm going to go ahead and put one a little bit off to the side. And there you go. Put it over here so you can take a look at our
That looks good.
finish. How's yours coming along, Patty?
Not so good.
We're getting there.
Mine was tighter, and I think it's because of the petals. They were small, and then they were larger. So I will probably add some more fullness
another row
this,
to it?
another
Okay.
row, because of the 2. Now, Genie's, I think, worked well because she had 3 sizes to go small, medium, and large, and it gave it a fuller. But again, this is where you kind of experiment with the different kinds of flowers that you want to make like a tighter or make it a fuller one. Hers looks better.
But I like this, and we can add one more row across the
Kind
bottom
of out.
and give it one more layer coming out the bottom. Let's go ahead and finish that up.
Okay.
And we have one that we did earlier too, a white one. So here's what we have, and the pink one is in progress. Okay, so here we have our 3 finished candle votives. The white one is very fluffy. We had a lot of leaves and just fluffed it out, the little leaves on the bottom.
And here's the red. Now, one of the things that we didn't point out at the beginning, when we bought the flowers, the white and the red we bought as full-bloomed flowers. The pink we bought as rosebuds. So when you look at how they turned out, because we bought the rosebuds, it came out looking more like a rosebud, very tight, very small. So just depending on the look, if you like them fuller like this, make sure you buy the silk flowers that are like a full-bloomed rose.
Or if you want the rosebud, then you make it a little tighter, use the rosebud, and it makes, I think this is just beautiful. But every color, and like I said, they would look great on any table.
We also recommend that you use the battery little lights, tea lights that you stick in here. Because of the flowers, you don't want these to catch on fire, so I would not use a real candle in here. But just the little light ones, you flip it on, put it in here, and then you'll have a nice little
And what a
decoration.
beautiful little glow it'll have coming
Yeah.
out of your votive. So
Yeah.
give it a try and have fun with this.